This is the OG pod. Usually the Zosny edition on a Wednesday, but this is the clipped edition where Anthony Mays and I, Zach Harper, will review episode 5 of Clipped. Lots of spoilers, so if you haven't watched it yet, honestly, it's such a shitty show that it doesn't matter if we spoil it for you. It's really about seeing how it is presented. It's not like the content itself, it's how the content is presented. And I said this from the start, that this is a horrible show. It's addictive. I want to watch more of it, but it's so bad. And it goes beyond the casting of this space. It goes beyond the casting. But good God, like, this was supposed to be one of the episodes that, like, all right, payoff. We got Barbara Walters, sort of.
I still think Rachel Dratch would have been better.
What a missed opportunity.
She's aged into the role even better now. She used to do it and pretend to be much older. I wasn't crazy about this Barbara Walters. I'm with you, but yes, this was the big one. Theoretically,
I guess
it's the penultimate.
No, well, all right. The end of the episode made me think, like, okay, episode 6. This is going to be it, right? This is I would imagine this is where we get the Anderson Cooper interview.
Right.
Because end of episode 6, end of episode 5, just to jump ahead a little bit, Donald Sterling's had enough. He's been excommunicated, all that stuff. And now he goes out to his front lawn where clearly just reporters have access to a billionaire.
24/7.
24/7 and says, I want to talk. So now, like, all right, we're getting, like, if episode 6 is just Donald Sterling talking, it will all have been worth it. I guess it's all worth it anyway. But
I think it's worth it. I have some questions raised by this episode, mostly about V Stiviano. I'm pretty confused by what's going on with her at this point.
For some reason, V is the least of my concerns. There's so
Fair
much
enough.
here. With, like, all right, do we think Chris Paul went to Doc's condo? Doc's penthouse?
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally. He's the team leader. Doc is the coach.
Doc gingerly tossed him a Voss water bottle.
Got to. Product placement. Well, that comes standard with the apartment building. But yes, I mean, we talked about it all season long, all 4 weeks of this season long. It's been such a long and illustrious road. But this was the Doc episode. This was the Doc is the hero. Doc is the perfect coach. Doc called Adam Silver personally and asked for help and made it happen by himself. Without that, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, clearly. That's true. Yeah. First of all right, there are 2 different Adam Silvers in this episode.
Oh.
There's, like, a pretty good delivery of the press conference where, banned for life. It's very, like, I don't want to say meek, but there's a nervous energy to it, right? There's a, like, holy shit, I got to do this kind of thing. And then there's the meeting with Shelly.
Yeah.
I don't know who that was. Allegedly Adam Silver. That's a hard ass Adam Silver, which I don't believe exists.
It's fair, but maybe it's because, he was behind closed doors. He wasn't on camera. And this is how he really keeps it real with the owners.
I guess so.
He's on the law.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the Doc thing, how much do you believe? Do you believe that he made the call?
I mean, I believe he had a call with Adam Silver. I believe he probably had many calls with Adam Silver, right? Like, I do think the NBA did their due diligence in trying to figure out how do we finally, like, navigate getting rid of Donald Sterling, and what's it going to take, and is this going to cost us playoff games, and is there actually going to be a protest? Like, there were real concerns at the time for the league. I shouldn't say concerns for everybody, but real concerns for the league that they were going to boycott a playoff game, both sides. Like, that was a real threat. And instead, they threw their warm-up jerseys or the warm-up shirts on the floor or whatever. I do think this has to be boiled down for TV, obviously. I don't know. This is the way to present it. I mean, obviously Doc's a consultant on this show. Is going to be about him. We learned a lot of that in the Watts Riots episode the previous week. It was the previous week or maybe the week before.
Yeah, it was last week.
Yeah. A waste of an episode, in my opinion.
Rewind to last week when we saw Doc getting his groceries in full Clippers regalia.
Full Clippers regalia, and finishing the episode, I believe, chucking oranges at the backboard in his backyard.
Yes. No oranges in this episode, but
yeah.
I think it is pumping him up a little too much, giving him a little too much credit.
But he did, I mean, at the time, this is 10 years ago. So at the time, like, he was being viewed as like the leader of leaders, right? And he was still pretty fresh off of his Celtics days, in which, he finally brought a title back to Boston with Ubuntu and everything. And so like his Q rating was high, and this helped it even more. But holy shit, this makes it seem like he banned Donald Sterling.
Yes, it makes it seem like hard ass Adam Silver wouldn't have done this without this very existential rooftop call from Doc Rivers.
Do we know? I thought he was going to jump at one point.
Yeah. We know how it ends, so that would have been a twist.
If they just fully went a different way with it. This was it a phone call with Adam Silver behind closed doors or in front of closed doors? Because that changes how that conversation goes, clearly, based on this episode. But I mean, this is going to be very pro Doc. I think we know, like, the reporting at the time from Ramona Shelburne was very heavy on Shelly Sterling and Doc. Like, those were the two main sources you can tell from the podcast, the reporting, all that stuff. Now it's clear this show consulted Doc and pretty much just Doc, because Shelly Sterling has, I mean, I had feared, because of the reporting, a decade ago, like, I had feared that this was going to be very pro Shelly Sterling as well. The last 3 episodes have made that very clear that it's not.
It has not been. Yeah. I want to get into the Shelly stuff in a minute, but we have to close out the Doc conversation with the return of the great LeVar Burton.
All right. Look, I'm not trying to be indelicate here. I'm not trying to be a bro or anything. Does LeVar Burton want to fuck Doc Rivers in this clipped universe? There's some tension.
There is some
tension. It's, I
the
don't understand.
Up, so I get
this
that.
Is like this is like a Greek play, right? Where an actor would talk to the audience, or there would be
every character in this show has their scene partner who exists only to create dialogue.
Has her fake friend, right? Like
Deja, who's gone.
Yeah.
Shelly has Justine, the traumatized divorcee, to help her get
some Andy Roser. But yes, Doc has the PR guy, or LeVar Burton.
Or LeVar Burton.
The LeVar Burton thing's so weird to me. I need to know if this actually happened. Oh, dude, when I saw the steam room, I fucking popped. I was like, here we go. LeVar's back.
LeVar has been waiting in the sauna for days, hoping that Doc would come back in. You know, when you have a meet cute at the gym and then you try to schedule your time so that you see that person again. LeVar stays in that sauna
and try to figure out, how do I work that schedule? What's the grocery buying schedule? Like, I get it, man. It's this LeVar Burton thing, though. I mean, it is such a weird vehicle to explain how Doc is feeling and the conflict that he has. I guess it's necessary. We can't just do like an introspective narrator.
This particular one was all over the place. So he calls him the perfect coach. Like he got called at the press conference. He's like, "Oh, I'm not the perfect coach. I'm just the coach right now. That's just who I am."
Right.
And he says that he's Da Vinci's drawing so that LeVar Burton can tell him that it's the Vitruvian Man. And Doc says, except a black dude who's been eating too many chips.
And then, by the way, popcorn's real healthy for you.
You can eat as much popcorn as you want, according to Reading Rainbow. I didn't get that message as a child. This is a new edition.
It's true, man. Well, I mean, it can't be like movie theater popcorn, you know?
No butter, but smart food popcorn. Have as much as you want.
Absolutely, yeah.
You're good to go. And then he starts talking about how rich he is and how he doesn't have to look at the bills on hotel receipts for vacation. And he put kids through college and he lives in a $6 million condo. But then LeVar says, sometimes you look around and you're two black men sweating in a wooden box. And Doc says,
then we get the
middle passage.
Yep.
Yes, the slave trade.
Yeah.
And so,
which I'm sure working for Donald Sterling brings it up.
I guess. This felt like a little bit of a leap, a little bit more than a leap. This is where we're really missing Wos on this week's episode, because I feel like Wos would have some thoughts about this commentary here.
We're definitely going to have some quick recap of this episode next week with Wos.
100%.
Before we get into episode 6. We're going to need that for sure.
We'll do both of them at the same time.
Yes.
But it's the LeVar Burton in the sauna, man. I could watch a whole show about that, I guess.
I get so excited when I see LeVar Burton or I see those sauna walls, man. I get so excited. I'm like, here we go. Like, it is Pavlovian at this point for me.
Some flabby pecs and a towel. That's all you need.
That's all I need. Doc's wide chest. Like, I'm here for it. Oh, man. All right, real quick. I want to know if you picked up on this. There's not a chance Big Baby knows who Metallica is.
No.
Okay. No. So we've had Sadists.
It's too easy.
We've had Existential. And now we've had him say it was like a Metallica concert. There's not a chance he would know any of that.
Every Big Baby line is highly questionable at this point. They are getting impossible for him to say anything.
More and more ill-fitting clothes for him. So where he's looking worse. He's looking worse by him. I mean, between games 4 and 7, he's gained 35 pounds easily, just in the clothing.
Yeah. Well, they're not playing, and it's been a lot of time. So
yeah, you mentioned the V Stiviano part. I can't tell if at times it's trying to make us feel bad for her or just let us observe what a tragic figure is not the right word, but like what a misguided figure she is in all this, right? Like with the adoption stuff and I've got my own brand now with the V Stiviano hats and everything, but it also was very of the times in terms of people thinking like, well, I had a moment. Now I'm big on social media. Now here I go. Now I'm a celebrity.
Yeah, it was confusing to me only because that opening scene where she's making her case, she's showing off her house to the caseworker. Yeah, seems to be going well. And then, yes, she sounds like an absolutely delusional, insane person.
Right.
When the lady asks her how she's going to support herself now, and then sees the sports car in the driveway. But then at the end, her case gets approved and she gets the kids. So I guess that's a win for V. But then random stranger calls her a cunt. And all of a sudden you wonder,
your newly adopted kids, you're about to like, oh, pizza? Sounds like a celebration. Cunt. What?
And that didn't even necessarily need to be about her. It could have been someone with Tourette's. But
could have been anything.
It was a drive-by sea bombing, and all of a sudden we're supposed to feel bad for her again. So yeah, I don't really know. Yeah. The part that confused me though, Zach, and I guess this makes sense, but in terms of the show, I was confused more than just in real life. I didn't know that Donald Sterling was the one behind the Barbara Walters interview.
That I did not know either. I don't remember that.
I guess it makes sense given what she says, and we'll play the clip in a minute because she is on his side. But in the show, she's almost made a complete 180 and hasn't spent any time with him in a while, hasn't talked about him, doesn't seem to be supporting him since she released the tapes. So then...
But also, we spent a whole episode at a sex party, so...
It's true.
You know.
We did take a little tangent there, so we don't really know where we are with her. But when he comes barging in like a distressed, deranged lunatic, I was a little caught off guard. I was like, wait, isn't he going to be pissed at her? Isn't she going to be pissed at him? And
I was confused by that as well. I don't remember that. But it is almost I mean, fuck man, Ed O'Neill's so good in this. Like every scene, he is so captivating because I genuinely have no idea what he's going to say.
Yeah.
From one sentence to the next, it's great. And the fact that like if that's true, the idea that he thought he would clear all this up by getting Magic Johnson of all people to come sit with him on TV and like defend his honor is a perfect level of delusion that makes V Stiviano's delusion look minuscule in comparison.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, I can't call with you, which is true. Like if it was just him and V talking about, like that would look bad, right? So he has some coherency there, but it's such a hard moment of clarity, like a 180 compared to what he thought that interview was going to be.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he actually thought Magic would show up or not, or if he was lying the whole time. And that's kind of the beauty of it. No, it could have been either way.
What I think is what it made it seem like was he was like, whoever, like Andy Roser or somebody, like whoever on his side was like, hey, make sure Magic's at this interview. Mm-hmm. We're going to do this interview about, well, have Magic come join us. And then, because I think then someone says like, oh yeah, I think like a producer is like, yeah, we contact his people, and no.
Yeah.
So like to me, that's just like he assumes like, well, I'm Donald Sterling. Everyone's going to come do what I want, kind of thing. Like it is a delusion of power and like a crumbling, empire, so to speak, right in front of us.
And he's also been completely unmoored by the announcement of the ban.
Yes.
He didn't expect that to happen. He got banned, and now he is in full panic mode, and that's why he's yelling at her to say that she doctored the tape. He offers to bribe her. He throws a salad at the lawyer, and the lawyer says, ouch. He says, it's a salad. And the lawyer says, the croutons sting. What an exchange.
I laugh so hard. There's also, I know it's catered for TV and everything. It's so much salad. Like it's such a large salad.
It's a serving bowl of salad.
Elaine Bennis could dream of. Like it is a monster salad. Yeah, that was so funny. Just the back and forth of ouch, it's a salad. The croutons sting is so fucking funny because that is just two lawyers. Just
imagine
arguing.
If they had incorporated the J.R. Smith soup throwing incident and made it soup. And we could have gotten into that whole thing. He calls her a media whore. He gives her a big old wad of cash, but it's for her sons. Mm-hmm. And he says, I guess rightfully, I helped you with the adoption, so you don't want to help me like I helped you. He did do that.
Based on the story, that's pretty accurate. But oh man.
And then when Barbara comes in, he says, what? You're not a pantyhose model. Come on, man.
Funny, man. It's so funny. Like, it's just unhinged because to him, and I think it's pretty true to the real life in terms of like stories you hear. Like, I don't think there's much embellishment with this character of Donald Sterling. The show, like, to him, like, what a compliment. Old ass Barbara Walters is going to come in here, and I'm going to say, you're not a pantyhose model. Like, that's the ultimate, like, wow, you look great. Like, it's so funny. Such a schmoozer.
Schmoozer.
Oh my God.
And now it's time. We have to get to the Barbara Walters interview.
Yes.
It's time to clip it.
What is Donald Sterling's state of mind right now?
Confused. I think he feels very alone, not truly supported, tormented, emotionally traumatized.
She sounds like a robot.
That Donald Sterling is emotionally traumatized from what?
But she's nailing this like replication
from his peers.
Of it. Mm-hmm. The pacing's perfect.
I think he's highly more traumatized by the things he said himself.
Do you think that Donald Sterling should apologize?
Absolutely.
Will he apologize?
Only God knows.
Can you tell me
Got him.
what your relationship with Donald Sterling is?
Oh my God.
I'm Mr. Sterling's right-hand arm man. I'm Mr. Sterling's everything. I'm his confidant, his best friend, his silly rabbit.
His what?
His silly rabbit.
His silly rabbit?
Yes.
Is that what he calls you?
No.
Is that what he calls you? No, it still
No.
kills me.
It's still so funny. And they mention this when she's getting her makeup done. They're like, everyone looks good in Barbara's light, right?
Mm-hmm.
The lighting on this is perfect.
Glowing.
Like with in terms of like what Barbara Walters interviews looked like it's dead on, balls accurate. The voice is pretty good for Barbara. She doesn't hit his what hard enough. No. I was very disappointed in that. Like the pacing, like V does a great job of pacing, the tone, everything. Yeah. Like she nails it so perfectly from the real interview. And Barbara's voice is good. The look is just whatever. Like it's I guess close enough as so many of the casting is in this show. But man, like I was so disappointed in that part.
Also, it's a super nitpick, but she doesn't say Mr. Sterling's everything. She says, I'm Mr. Sterling everything.
Yes.
There's no possession there.
Yeah.
It's grammatically incorrect, and that's why I love it. So that was the one cleanup they did that I noticed, but still worth it. Not quite as good as the deposition, but still worth it to get it on camera.
Still a great scene, a great replication of the scene.
Are you in love with Donald Sterling?
I love him.
You love him what? Like a friend or romance?
I love him like a father figure. Just like a father figure.
Do you and Donald Sterling have a financial arrangement?
Yes. He at first started paying me as an employee, and then he started paying me off the books.
Off the books?
No.
Donald Sterling is in his 80s. You're in your 30s. I'm not sure I understand the relationship.
Well, I'm Mr. Sterling's personal assistant. Like I said, I'm his right hand. I'm his wingman. What isn't there to understand?
So good.
Oh man.
It's a 9 out of 10. Like it's so good. Just a couple of mishaps, but oh my God, it's so good. The lawyer's reaction when she says off the books. Oh fuck.
So the Shelly arc in this episode is essentially that her lawyers are trying to get her to turn on Donald.
Yes.
And eventually she does. She also has an interview with Barbara Walters at an undisclosed location where she pulls out the divorce papers, the divorce petition, and then eventually she gets Donald to sign it. And so I thought this was good. This was probably the best arc within an episode of showing how Shelly could actually consider changing between the talks with the lawyers, watching the interview, and when she says, "Is that how I sound?" Like realizing that she's out of the spell, to at the end when Donald's essentially ranting about how nothing changes and this is all bullshit.
This is how the world is. Yeah.
Donald,
you sure about that?
It changed. Why did change that from under you, you old fart? So
I used to be a real piece of shit, Donald, and now.
And then you gotta mix in also, like, she goes to Andy at one point and tells Andy to fight back until Andy gets suspended, and she also negotiates trying to get Silver to walk it back, I guess, and then her lawyer convinces her, let's sell the team ourselves. And
at least it's better if we sell it than which is interesting. I mean, it is an interesting concept of like Silver's like, you got 10 days. 10 days to figure it out. Otherwise, we're going to put it up for auction.
Hard ass Silver.
Hard ass Silver, man, behind closed doors.
I kind of wish they auctioned it. I feel like Ballmer still would have won.
He would, absolutely. He would have won. Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting, but Yeah, that's the road untaken in that respect. So the last thing that I want to hit is the Clippers themselves. You already mentioned Big Baby talking about Metallica, and there was that whole Rich Summers character talking about designing the right font and logo for the message that he wanted to send. I thought that was an interesting look at PR. But after DeAndre Jordan's career game, following up his 0-point game, they're in the locker room. Blake's busting his balls, and we get this. It was actually really mostly Jamal Crawford in this one.
Yeah, well, that's who that's supposed to be.
That is who that's supposed to be. You can tell by the bald head, arm tattoos. But let's hear from the Clippers locker room.
Donald Sterling got banned like styrofoam cups.
Ain't nobody banned no damn styrofoam cups.
You gotta Google it.
I knew he had something up his sleeve, but I didn't think he'd go all Jean Valjean.
For real? The NBA stands with CarMax against racism.
You don't think it was hard for him smacking down an owner like that? Hard, but not revolution hard. I'm just saying, the sponsors dropped us first. All of us was about to boycott. Jesse fucking Jackson had everybody about to march on City Hall.
I don't know who that is.
Silver did what he had to do. The popular thing.
I got you. And he gets to come on the scene as new commissioner like Captain America.
Right. Literally. What's the downside for him?
Okay, but does his reasons matter, though? Like, did Angelina Jolie become a humanitarian because she cared or because she wanted to look good after she stole Jennifer Aniston's man? Either way, she's helping people.
Okay, Angelina Jolie went deep, though. Adopted 19 kids. She changed her life.
She committed.
Yeah. So, like, Adam Silver ready to commit like that? Or is he going to keep on pretending we got one bad apple in the NBA? We are one. That's just some slogan. Let everybody go back to feeling good about watching us hoop again without thinking about all this other shit.
You just want something to complain about. That bitch is bad.
Okay. Reference Bukkake, first of all.
Oh my God. Styrofoam cups, Jean Valjean.
Yeah, JJ Redick dropping
Captain
the Jean
America.
Valjean and Captain America back-to-back references. And then you also got Angelina Jolie getting mentioned. But I do think that what Jamal, in quotes, says about one bad egg, essentially, is interesting. And that kind of connects to the Robert Sarver ban as well.
And there was a Hawks owner. So the Hawks had like a 3-way ownership. And an email got out about, I think, like not wanting as many black fans in the arena or something along those lines. This was maybe 2016.
Wasn't this the draft? The draft?
No, that's
profile?
Danny Ferry. That was Danny Ferry.
Yeah,
there was a whole email thing with one of the 3 Hawks owners, where that, or maybe it was like shortly after this, where the guy was very much like, you know what, buy me out. I'm good. I'm not like, he was just like, I'll take my money and go, kind of thing. And so, and then, Shelly says it later on the episode about, they're hunting baby elephants and, banging prostitutes or something like that. Like it was something along those lines. So it's not just Donald, don't forget, which is true, right? Billionaires are billionaires. Like that's not a whole lot of good billionaires out there. But this is, I can't tell if that was just there to for message or if that is there for something that gets set up in the conclusion next week.
I felt like that was more winking at the audience and trying to let us know based on what we know has happened in the following 10 years. Right. I don't really think there could be that much more to set up in the final episode of this show.
Honestly, if it's just the entire Anderson Cooper interview, I'd be so happy. I'd be so happy. Just the setup to that, the interview, and it ends with him going, he's got AIDS, and then roll credits. I would applaud, take back every bad thing I've said about this show 100%.
The last clip that we have to play is none other than fake Draymond Green doing
fake Steph
routine with
Dak Prescott. This motherfucker is coming out yoked. Steph is built like a linebacker.
Hey man, and he doesn't say anything. He just looks jacked. That's his whole move.
He just looks jacked. Yeah, no, he's there for muscle next to Draymond. Like, what the fuck?
Hello? Y'all having a funeral for y'all season?
There's no way that door would be open.
Good game, Steph.
There's no way any of that would happen.
Fuck? Nah, dog. We having a funeral for your self-respect over there grinning and shit.
Oh, my self-respect feel pretty good after whooping y'all,
man.
Yeah? Even though y'all heard the tape, and y'all still went tap dancing for your racist ass owner?
What?
Hey, nigga, who's tap dancing? You, nigga.
No, hold up, man. Shut your dumb
Is
ass
this
up. We was
Jared
gonna boycott
Dudley?
with you, remember?
That's Matt Barnes.
Oh, yeah. That's what they gonna write in the history books.
On the left, yeah,
What you
probably.
plan to do in your mind.
Don't waste your time on this sore loser, man. He's just depressed.
This sore loser about to catch a sore jaw. Keep doing all that yap.
Do it. Right here.
What is this?
I mean, Steph Curry, fake Steph Curry.
How small is that hallway for one?
I can't get over. Not only does he look nothing like Steph Curry,
Nothing.
he can't
like
act
him.
for shit.
Of course
He
not.
doesn't have any emotion. He's neutral. He's just standing there.
That is supposed to be Jared Dudley, by the way. I just looked up the roster.
Yeah. Well, that's the headband.
That's
Yeah, you were
actually
right.
probably one of the closer likenesses. That's Eric Pascal and Dak Prescott. That's who that is.
Man. And correct me if I'm wrong. 2014, Draymond Green is not one co-leader of the team with Steph. Two, had any antics yet. He's more or less, he's like a second year player or like a rookie at this point.
He was drafted in 2012. So yes, this would have been his second year.
He's a second year player. He's not starting. He's playing very few minutes a game.
He didn't start until Kerr came along, right?
Yeah.
And David Lee got hurt.
And David Lee got hurt. So that's another one of like, who can we put as the mouthpiece of the Warriors?
But also, like, all right, doesn't this seem like, Grant, I think you have to have obviously the players who we would quote unquote recognize for lack of a better term, like, oh, Warriors, Draymond, Steph, right? But also, is this Doc trying to like shit on Steph and Draymond in some way?
Maybe, man. That's a possibility.
I kind of feel like it is.
All right. To be fair to Draymond, he did start in this game 7 and had 24 points in 40 minutes. So he was prominent in this series.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's hilarious. I think using the Warriors, calling out the Clippers.
It's so fucking fun. And then there's one point that it's cut off in the clip, but someone yells like, "You're never getting a ring." And I don't know if that was the Clippers to the Warriors or the Warriors to the Clippers. I couldn't tell. And then Chris Paul's just standing like fucking Onyx in the Slam video, just like a B-boy stance like in the hallway as everyone clears out and like someone's in the suit next to him, and he's just like, it's almost like PJ Washington earlier in the playoffs against the Thunder. I think it was like, just none of that happened. There's no way any of that happened. I think that's Doc just like, well, the Warriors took everything from me. I've got to make sure I can shit on them one more time.
This is the last time the Clippers beat the Warriors, and it's the only time that the Warriors ever made the playoffs, according to Doc Rivers.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
stupid,
it was as far as clipped episodes. I think this was probably one of the bigger ones.
Yeah,
in terms of what happened, in terms of the actual ban, and then the Barbara Walters interview. You want the Anderson Cooper in the finale. That's all you want.
That's all I want. That's all I want.
I mean, what else is there really to do? The Clippers losing.
Well, is Bomber going to be? Bomber has to be in it, right?
Ooh, that'd be interesting. Ooh, a fake Bomber negotiating with Shelly.
Doc got fired by Bomber, right? So is he going to paint Bomber in a good light?
They've done a good job of coming up with excuses to recreate famous moments, viral moments. So for Ballmer, wouldn't the perfect thing to do be to tell Shelly that he's a buyer and then have someone do the fake Microsoft conference,
absolutely,
yelling and stamping around? Like, also, if they do that and the Anderson Cooper, I think that could sway me at the very end there.
Now, I'm not going to pretend to be an encyclopedia when it comes to memes of 10 years ago. I'm pretty sure I would have remembered Uncle Tom's Cabin, Clippers going through their playbook in game 4. I'm pretty sure I would have remembered that, which is what they throw into their little Instagram scroll.
Look, man, they've given us a lot of memes. I had to freeze frame that one. I couldn't let that one go by. That was insane.
Because I was gonna watch this morning, right? And you sent that did you send it last night or this morning?
This morning.
You said this morning. So when I saw that, no context, right? Just that you perfectly screen grabbed it to where it'd be like the meme itself. I thought, what the fuck is May sending here? What is the, I legitimately thought, what does this have to do for the Mikal Bridges trade? I was like, what? This has nothing to do with any of the news of the draft, the trade, whatever.
Nope.
And then it clicked. I was like, oh, fuck, clipped. I gotta watch it. Like, I was like, all right, I gotta get my shit together. I gotta dive into this thing. I remembered like, oh, I gotta watch this shit. And then it scrolled by so fast. I had to rewind it and like really zone. I was like, yeah, man, that's what May said. That is holy shit.
All I needed to really cap that off is if they had Draymond Green, Money 23 Green posting that. As his team.
Or like his mom tweeting it to him or something like that. It had to be the Green family or someone, right? Like it had to be something.
Oh man. This has been a doozy.
I mean, this show is horrible. This show is horrible, and I can't get enough of it. I'm gonna rewatch it once the entire thing's out. I'm going to binge all 6 like right away. I'm gonna spend an afternoon just doing it.
Good old fashioned hate watch, but it's in the best way possible because it's also about real life that we're pretty familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
The characterization of actual NBA events. It's kind of amazing the NBA greenlit this.
The one more thing, Donald Sterling refers to Obama as that kid.
Yep.
Like hope, and then in that whole speech about how like nothing changes or whatever. I thought that was super funny. Yeah, I need a heavy Donald Sterling episode to finish this off.
Yeah,
because that is it's truly one. It's the most fascinating character, obviously, for many reasons, but also Ed O'Neill's doing the best with his character. I'm all good on Doc. We've had multiple Doc episodes. I understand he's the consultant. I'm all good on Doc. I think you're right. This was the Doc as the hero episode. Now just give me full on end it with Sterling as the villain. Like that's what I need. I need all the energy of that deposition funneled into. I wouldn't even mind like a little bit of a flashback, and then we get into the Anderson Cooper, interview. Like I need all that, but I need it to be 90% Donald Sterling to finish this thing off,
and 10% Elgin Baylor dribbling a basketball through the
10% Elgin Baylor, 9% Elgin Baylor dribbling a basketball, and then I need Ramona Shelburne's top 5. We need to bring that back. I need her top 5.
And hopefully one more Big Baby vocabulary word that he certainly does not know what it means.
I wouldn't mind him just lurking in the background of that Anderson Cooper Donald Sterling interview. Just kind of peeking his head at the door, leaning back out. That's what I need. Oh my God, what a mess this fucking show is. And I'm so happy it exists.
The Mikal Bridges trade was a pretty big splash. You wrote about it for The Athletic. You gave everybody good grades.
Yeah, I think it's actually like considering where all the teams are, the Knicks give up a lot for him, but in terms of draft capital, but we know how good their team chemistry already is. He's an excellent player. I think he gets to concentrate more on defense now. So bringing him and re-signing OG Anunoby, which I don't think they're going to fail to do. I think you see the Thunder with the Caruso trade, and I think you see somewhat of the Knicks. Like I think you're seeing teams realize like we need to have a shitload of defenders on the perimeter, like Boston just did, right? Like I think that's what you're seeing. For the net side of it, this is a team that lost its draft capital with the KD or with the James Harden trade. They tried to get some of it back with the KD trade, with the Suns picks, and then to get their picks, some of their picks back, especially the one going into next year's draft, which is so huge, while Houston also now they get to assume the eventual downfall of the Suns with their draft picks and either going after Booker or going after KD, which both sound, they're not going to get both, but like, I think Phoenix is not loving their situation. And so at a certain point, like, I think they're going to see if it will work. And if it doesn't early on, like, I think they'll make some decisions here, and Houston puts himself in a great position to pounce on that. And Brooklyn, look, we can shit on Brooklyn a lot, right? As an organization for plenty of reasons. This is a team that has made 2 major splashes in the last 12 years. Now, one of them was very misguided with the KG Paul Pierce deal, as they were like basically at the end of their careers, right? And then getting KD and Kyrie to sign there was massive. It didn't work out, and then they trade for James Harden. It didn't work out, but it shows that they are a destination. And so to set yourself up to be another destination, like that's really all you can do when you're this down in the dirt. So I thought it was a great couple of trades for everybody.
Yeah, I am so excited to see the Villanova boys super happy all year long.
Yeah.
It's rare to see chemistry that palpable with 4 dudes who really, really, really like each other. And, you know, there's the funny clip of like Stephen A. Smith saying that there's no NBA players on that team. There's all the jokes about Tom Thibodeau versus Mikal Bridges, who's going to break first.
He hasn't missed a game since high school.
It's either the perfect match or it's going to, you know, combust in a spectacular way. It's great content.
I think I wrote in the newsletter for today that it's the unstoppable force checking ball against the immovable object with those two. Like it truly is like, this is the ultimate game of one-on-one is Tom Thibodeau versus Mikal Bridges' body.
Great writing by the venerable Zach Harper. My only question really is like, it seems like Hartenstein is going to be the odd man out.
It was going to be hard for them to keep him in general because of just the rules with re-signing, because they don't have his
they can't
full bird
offer
rights.
enough money.
Yeah, and there are rumors that like the Thunder and other teams are going to give him a big payday, and so it's going to be, hey, if we can convince him to take, you know, less money to stay here, but now with the trade, with the first, second apron restrictions, I think this pushes them into the second apron or right up against it, and so keeping him, I think that's kind of the odd man out. But you still have Mitchell Robinson; they can still go get a backup center to fill in, kind of like they did with Hartenstein, where it's like, that's a pretty good guy, and then he plays into the role and outperforms a contract. So I think that's more likely what happens. I was kind of think like, you know, Julius Randle, maybe not there by next year.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I think Brandon Ingram's going to be on the move. I think we got a lot of potential things here in the next 8 months.
Yeah, I think if they could somehow get rid of Randall without making it seem like, hey, we'll give him up for anything, it'll be a hard sell at this point. But if they could get any assets out of the Randall situation while also getting the cap relief they need, that's the piece. That's the piece I would like to move.
The problem with that is that they no longer have draft capital to attach to it, if they wanted to, right? So that's the risk. But also, all right, if they sticks around, as long as he accepts his role of like, you're the second or third guy every night. If he accepts it and he defends and he can knock down a jumper every once in a while and doesn't just like kill the flow of the offense, he's still a very good player. I just don't think he fits all that well with what they want to do.
Yeah, it's exciting times in New York. I think we can look forward to a lot more side talk videos next year.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
I still feel a little cheated. We didn't get that Knicks Celtics series this year. I thought that would have been so much fun. Even if they were diminished like they were, everybody banged up, I still would have liked to see the energy in the building if they were playing the Celtics. So they're better equipped for that next year. I hope we get to see it. It should be a lot of fun.
Those are the two best teams in the East right now, right? Like we still have a whole draft and free agency and trades and stuff to go, but the Knicks weren't just all right, you could say they were the 2 seed, but maybe not the second best team in the East by the end of it. But they're pretty fucking good now if healthy. They just got to stay healthy.
We also need to stay healthy for next week's Clipped. We need to Stay in good spirits. We need to stay loose.
Give me the whole interview. That's all. And again, just Big Baby lurking in the background. That's all I need. I'll give it an A+ for the entire series. Please.
I'm going to be like LeVar Burton, eating as much popcorn as I want. Because you can do that.
Eating popcorn.
Eating popcorn in a sauna.
Okay, actually, let me correct what I said. I need him and Doc eating popcorn in a sauna watching this interview on TV.
We need a new popcorn meme.
Yes. That's what
we need.
Yeah, sorry, Kelsey Plum, you're out. I need a new popcorn meme. Like, that's what we need. Hey, buy tickets, live show, Racket in New York City, July 20th. You're not going to want to miss it. Bomani Jones, Nick Wright, Pablo Torres, so many great guests. We didn't even fit all the guests into the flyer, but check it out. You can go to axs.com, search Count the Dings. Go to countthedings.com. We have the links in all of our profiles. We have the links in all of our social media posts. Like, make sure you get your tickets. You do not want to miss out on this live show. Jade is back. We're doing it all. July 20th, Racket, New York City.